Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday and it's time for a review show special. Now, as I said in the Q&A earlier on today, a lot of people have been asking me to review Chris Congreave's new book, which has just come out. So I thought, well, you know, if enough people are actually interested in wanting to know what I think about Chris's book, I'll do the same thing that I did to Mark Oberon with The Insider a few weeks ago, and we'll do a review show special. And that's what I've done. So I reached out to Chris. I've done a bit of a mini interview with Chris where he talks about the book, he talks about why he wrote the book, some of the routines in the book and what the content is and how he put it together. And then after that interview, I'm going to come back and I'm actually going to review the book and I'm going to perform a couple of the routines out the book as well. Now, I did say to Chris, and I'll say it to you again, I've told Chris that even though he's agreed to do an interview, and I'm very grateful for that, this review is 100% honest. I've said to Chris, if I don't like it, I'm going to tell people that I don't like it. If I love it, I'm going to tell people I love it. I will, however, say one thing. I have known Chris for a very, very long time. We have been competitors, we have been friends, we have been enemies over the years. But I'll say one thing about Chris Congreave. He is one of the most... He's one of the best kept secrets in magic, which is a ridiculous thing to say when this is a guy who has created and released so much magic. But I don't think he gets the accolades that he should. This is a guy that's been performing professionally for as long back as I remember. I have seen him go into gigs and absolutely smash it. This is a man who has battled through adversity when he thought that his career was over, and he's come back stronger and better than ever before. And the guy is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to creating magic. Strong, commercial, quality magic. So I was very excited about reading this book anyway. I think Chris Congreave is absolutely amazing and a brilliant creator. But let's start off by looking at the interview with me and Chris, where he talks about the content of the book, and then I'll be back with a review. Okay, so I am here with the one and only Chris Congreave. Chris, how you doing, mate? You okay?
How you doing? Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, good to be back.
Hey, mate, thanks for coming on the channel again. You're going to have to become a co-host at this point, you know?
Mate, I'm loving it. Yeah, good to be back in my front room.
You changed a lot, don't mind you. It's nice change of scene. Looking good, liking it. And I should say, if people haven't seen your interview, your interview was one of the first interviews I did on Talk Magic. Go back and check it out. I'll put a link in the description down below. Your interview was fantastic. It really was. And it was so well received from people who watched it. So,
thank you. Good to know.
Really, really good. But this is not an interview. There has been a massive buzz about the new book that you've just brought out. Now, when we did our interview a few months ago, you were talking about it and you were still writing it at the time. And you'd put most of the material together, but it was still kind of in production.
Yeah.
Fast forward like 6 months, we're now here. It's now been released. And I've been looking at the reviews that have been coming out, and people are raving about the material in here. And I've had so many people message me and go, can you review Chris's new book? Can you review Chris's new book? And I thought, well, let's go one step further. Let's have a bit of a chat about it. We can talk about the book. Then I can review it later on, do a trick out of it, and then I'll tell everyone what we think. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know all about the book. So first of all, you've already written one book. What made you decide to write a second one?
Oh, good question. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that I've put out in this book, which we'll talk more about in a second, I could have released as single individual tricks and stuff, because that's the way Magic's going at the moment. Let's face it, you know, you release it with a pack of cards with the download and stuff, and I've done it myself. I wanted to put everything in one book. I wanted a hardback book. Okay, now I'm the same as you. I'm an older magician now, I guess we are. And when we first got into Magic, this was what we had. It was books. You know, and when I did the last book, it came out paperback with Magic Scene. They did a fabulous job, but I was a tad disappointed that it wasn't a hardback book. So I thought to myself, right, I'm going to release a hardback book. But instead of going back to Magic Scene, and like I say, they did a fabulous job. In fact, Phil Shaw helped me put this together, who works for Magic Scene, and he did a brilliant job. But I wanted to do it myself, so I did. So that's what I did. I had quite a bit of material from when the last book came out. I've released, I think it's 3 ebooks with some material in that had a limited release. I didn't release them to any dealers, just sold them myself. So I had that stuff that I wanted to get out to a wider audience. And I've got a lot of other stuff that I've been working on in between times as well. So I thought, well, this is the time to do it, really. And everything all went together in this new book.
And a lot of the stuff that was in the new book was kind of like stuff that you'd released over the last sort of 10 or 15 years of your career, hadn't it? There was some new stuff in there as well, but the first book, it was like looking back at some of your older items, because you've been creating that since, whilst this is all new,
all brand new stuff,
published material outside of a very limited release of ebooks. It's stuff that people will not have seen before.
No, absolutely not. No, and in fact, the stuff in the ebooks there's 25 routines in the new book, and I think the stuff out of the ebooks is only, I think it might be 3 or 4 routines or something like that. So there's 21 routines that have never been published before. There's one routine in there that's basically an extension of an older routine that was in my first book, which is have you seen the Mark Deck routine in my first book? The one where the cards are all marked up. I've taken that in a slightly different direction, just tried to make it a little bit shorter and a bit more commercial, really. So, but other than that, it's all sort of new stuff. And there's quite a few mentalism type routines in there.
I was going to say, is there a, because I know as a performer, been leaning more towards the mentalism in the last few years, haven't you? You've got, when you first started, it was very visual, close-up magic, stuff disappearing, ice coins, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then in recent years, a lot of the stuff that you've been bringing out has been very sort of mentalism orientated. Still commercial from a sort of a magic point of view. It's still something a magician would do, but it's kind of gone in a different direction. Yeah,
it's more mental magic than mentalism, straight mentalism, I would say. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'll still do when I'm, well, it's been that long since I've done a gig, you know what I mean? But I think all of us. But when I'm performing at a gig, I'll still do some of the older stuff, the visual magic stuff that you talk about, because that's where I learned my trade, really, as we've talked about on the last interview, working at busy restaurants and all that type of thing, loud environments. It's still very much part of my makeup, really. But the mentalism stuff, I don't know, it gets a different reaction, doesn't it? And that reaction is something that, as you get old, I think as you get older, you sort of realise that when they're clapping and cheering and everything else, it's great, but what they're actually, the routines where they sit there and they go, these are the ones that they remember later on. Do you know what I mean? So things like my routine Omen that I put out a couple of years ago, the first time I performed that at a live gig, it was actually at a football club, one of my residencies, and there was this guy there, and he liked magic. He performed a few bits and pieces, and I went and did that for him. And he sat there, and do you know what he said to me? I'll never forget. He sat there, and he sat now, I'm joking. He just went, "I've got goosebumps," and it's a completely different reaction. And I think, if you can do both and get both of those reactions in the same, you're only with them for a small amount of time, aren't you? As an audience, sort of, 5-6 minutes at a time at a table, something like that. So if you can get them clapping, cheering, laughing, enjoying themselves, but also if you get them there sitting there going, wow, as well, I think it's a really great, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a great mix, and it's a great combination.
And I think that's the sort of thing that comes from experience. And what I mean by that is when you first into magic, what you're looking for is you're looking for the people going, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Well, when you've been doing it a while, that reaction of what? That's desirable as people losing their minds, it really is. And it's normally those people that are the ones that will be the strongest advocate for you afterwards. And they'll go, you're not going to believe, you're not going to.
Absolutely. I've come away from gigs before now, and you think, bloody hell, I've died on my arse here today. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't getting these big reactions, and you just get the most amazing feedback, and they book you again, and you just think, what? And actually, they've really have enjoyed what you've done. It's just that they haven't reacted in a certain way. So yeah, so mentalism or mental magic, it's definitely been yeah, that's how my magic's evolved over the last few years, definitely.
But it's not just mental magic. Like you shared a video on social media on Facebook recently with like a torn card changing plate. That for me was incredible. I saw that and I was like, my God, that is such a commercial routine. It's visual, it's obvious what's happening from a not from a method point of view, but it's obvious what's happening from a spectator understanding the magic point of view. I was like, that's the perfect close-up trick, and there's no mental magic about that at all. It's just strong.
No. It's been getting some great. The worst thing for me is I've not been able to perform that for a real audience. And as you know, I like to road test all my stuff at gigs before I release it. And I've not. It's been really frustrating that I've not been able to do that with some of this material. I have performed it at my day job, so people have seen it. And obviously, I've performed it for friends and family and things like that. But I've not been able to do it at gigs. But that when I've put those on, and I've never done this in the past. If you think back over the years, I mean, we've been friends on Facebook, for example, for a long time now, and I bet you couldn't remember seeing me perform routines like that on Facebook before. I've never done it. I've never done it because I've never looked for people's feedback on routines because I've always done it at shows. So I've been doing a few lectures over Zoom for magicians societies. I think I've done about 3 or 4 now, and I've chucked that routine that you're talking about in each time, and those videos on Facebook, and it's got the most amazing reaction. People really enjoy it. I did a thing for Alakazam on that. They do these hub. I think you've done one, haven't you? The hub thing on Chop Cup. You did yours, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah.
So I did a little talk on there the other week, and I performed that routine, and you could hear them like, wow, that's great. So yeah, and it's a great routine that just sits in your wallet, and you can just do it anytime you like. Just bring out a pack of cards and do this routine. So yeah, I'm really proud of that. Actually, it's a great trick.
It's amazing. The other thing I want to say is, for anybody who's listening to this and they're hearing you go, well, I haven't road tested this material, I want you to understand something. I have known this man for probably upwards of 20 years, and he is the consummate professional. He's done so many gigs. He's done so many events. He's performed close-up magic so many times. You have the experience under your belt to know whether a trick will work or not. I don't want people watching this interview thinking, oh, this is a load of untested material.
No, and that's the difficult thing for me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't want to hate blow my own trumpet. I know what works and I know what doesn't work, and I know this material will work in the real world because, like you say, I've been a full-time professional for almost 20 years, so I know it'll work. And I have used it. When I've had the opportunity to, but not at shows, unfortunately, and that's just basically because a lot of it, I would say, 9/10 of it has been written in the last 12 months during lockdown. There's the routines in the PDFs that we were talking about earlier. They have been road tested. In fact, let me just find you a photograph in the book. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that there?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, there's a picture of a bride at a wedding that I did, and that's one of the routines in the book. So that, there's a couple in there that most definitely have been road tested.
The other thing is, you're our mutual friend, Owen Strickland, who's also been interviewed on this channel, and is one of the busiest working professional magicians in the UK, and continued to work all the way through every single lockdown. God knows how that.
Yeah.
He's had an advanced copy of this book, and he has been working a lot of these routines in. And when I told him I was doing this interview, he was like, this book is gold dust. It's absolutely gold dust. He talked about the routine that you performed on the interview that you did with me the first time round. And he said that he's done that at so many gigs and it just kills people.
He's a gig machine, Owen. I don't know how he's worked hard at it over the years, and you're right. He's one of the few people who has managed to do some gigs during lockdown and stuff. And he's performed my material for a real audience before I could. But he's done it and it worked. He's done that one you're talking about, and a coin prediction routine. And maybe another one or two, I can't quite remember. But yeah, I've been really, honestly, Craig, I've been so happy with the response I've been getting so far. People who I really look up to have reached out to Steve Cook. I know he wrote the foreword to the book, but I've only met Steve in person once, and he's a lovely, lovely man. And I just asked him to do the foreword because I thought it'd be nice. We really hit it off, and he did. But I didn't ask him to do it. He just put a review on Facebook a couple of days ago of the book, saying how much he enjoyed it. And Sean McCree as well, another guy who I've looked up to over the years. He's a fab magician. He's been around for a long, long time, and he's done a really good review saying, So it's, for me, yourself, Craig, when you release material, there's always a bit here. You're a bit worried that people are not going to like it, and and I don't know why that is, because I know. For me, I know it works, and it works for me, and I shouldn't worry about these things, but I do. It's 45 quid this book, and it's a lot of money, really. I'm asking for a copy of the book, but is it? I don't know.
Is it though? Is it? I mean, I do a review show every single week, and we have some tricks that come in that are 30, 40 quid, and they're just terrible. Like, I just reviewed last week something by Peter Egging, and it was like this Houdini's last tricks, or it's £30, and it's just completely unworkable. Well, you can spend £30 on something that is absolutely 100% going to go in your bottom drawer, or you can spend 30, 45 quid on a book that has a whole bunch of material, created by one of the most creative and commercial thinkers in the UK. When you think about it that much, what's £2 a trick, £2.50 a trick. If you do it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer.
I hope so. And there's a couple of essays in there as well, talking about real life experiences. One's talking about there's a big section on dealing with the alpha male at a gig, which I'm sure you've had loads of experience in as well. It's just my personal thoughts on how to deal with it, and anybody who's first starting out, you're just going to get the benefit of my experience, really, because when you're out performing, you'll get to a table very often, and Craig will back me up here, I'm absolutely sure, and there'll be one guy who's the centre of attention. He doesn't like sharing his spotlight with you when you've got there. You've got to try and win him over. And there's some thoughts on how to deal with that, really. And the other thing I wrote some thoughts on is how to deal with, and you'll love this, the young fan at a wedding or a party. You get it all the time. You'll get a kid who sees you at a table and he'll follow you around for the rest of the gig. And after a couple of tables, he'll start to tell everybody what's going to happen before you do it. And it can, if you're not careful, spoil it for everybody else. So there's like I say, there's 2 essays on things like that as well. So
how you wrote an entire essay on that subject. I mean, how can you stretch out the word drop kick to the balls? More than a sentence,
do you know what? That only worked the first couple of times, and then I got beat up by it now. It's a tough one now, isn't it? You've got to get rid of them, but you've still got to come across as being the nice guy. And do you know what I mean? And there's a couple of ideas on how to deal with that as well.
That's absolutely brilliant. And it's all commercial stuff. It's not like there's no pipe dreams in there with ridiculously difficult slides or massive setups. Everything is super commercial.
There's a couple of things in there. There's a few routines in the book where you have got to put an effort in to make things up. Okay.
You don't have to do that before every gig. You have to put the initial effort in. See, I have no problem. This is why I don't do something like carding Kit Kat. I have no problem putting the effort in one time.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is before every gig sit there for half an hour prepping something. I just don't want to do that. But
no, fine. No, it's a one-time thing. Yeah, absolutely. And as ever with my stuff, there's very, very little in the way of resets and stuff like that. You can reset it as you put it back into your pocket or as you're walking between the tables. Or more often than not, it's just putting the card back exactly where you got it from or wherever it might be. So yeah, it's all with the working performer in mind, really, because that's what I am. So I don't create magic to go and perform down the magic club, because that's not what I do. I perform magic to perform for lay people, really.
Brilliant. And before we get on to the review, 2 more questions. Number 1, is there going to be a hat trick? Is there going to be a book number 3?
Yes, although it's going to be some way off, because I've only got one routine written up ready for it. I've got the title this time now already, so
What is it? Can you say?
Curiously enough.
I like it. I think
it. Keeping the theme, so we had Congreave's Curiosities. It was Sean McCree actually who suggested this title, Curious Here, and I put it on my Facebook page. You know, I couldn't think of anything at all, and then when Sean came up with this, it's actually from, is it Alice Through the Looking Glass, I think? Curiouser and Curious, and I thought, yeah, I love that. So obviously with that in mind, I'm going to stick with the curious thing for the trilogy, like you say, and then Curiously Enough, it'll be the title. As for when, I really couldn't say, because it's probably a year or 2 away, I would guess.
And in the meantime, for people that need to get their Congreave fix, you're still releasing other stuff, you're still creating, you're still working with other dealers. I know you've always had a very close relationship with Peter Alakazam.
I've just sold the rights to a new routine that you've seen before we went live. So Peter has bought the rights to one of my routines that's going to be coming out at some point. I can't really say any more than that, because they will announce and tease appropriately. But it's a mentalism type routine, and I think you enjoyed it.
I got a chance to see this off camera, and I'm telling, if Peter's watching this, and I know he does watch the channel, release this bloody trick now, because it is so clever. It fooled the absolute crap out of me. I had no idea how it was done. And it uses a method that I'm totally aware of, and I completely know, and I've used in my own work, and I just didn't see I didn't see it at all. And it was only after you told me how it was working that I was like, oh my God, that's so clever. That's awesome.
It's quite subtle, isn't it? So that's which is, I think that's something that comes with age and experience as well, isn't it? So, you know, you start to, like, when you read books by Nick Trost and people like that, and when I first read his work years ago, you're just like, oh, you know, where's all the moves? What's going on? And now, as you get older, you appreciate the subtleties behind a lot of what goes on. So yeah, it's quite subtle. I think people will enjoy it. I'll be excited for that to come out as well. But when, as and when, I don't know. So that's Alakazam. We'll be bringing that out.
So keep an eye on Alakazam. And if people want to order the book, Chris, the only place that you can get it is directly from you. So cool. Wide, and how can people get hold of you to get this?
So yeah, currently I've had 200 copies produced. I'm not going to say for definite that there's only going to be 200, because I don't know. I'm going to see how it goes. I'll say, I mean, it's only been on sale for a couple of weeks, and I'm well into the first 100. I mean, well into the first 100. So I'm really, really absolutely over the moon with that. So thank you to everybody who's bought it, first of all. If you want to order one, you can order one from, it's www.insideyourhead.co.uk. And you, oh, thanks. Yeah, cheers, mate. And you'll find there's a couple of the routines. The one that Craig was talking about earlier is on there, and the one that I did on your channel on the last interview is on there as well.
Yep.
But I believe you're going to perform one of the routines in this.
I'm going to do the review, and I'm going to perform a routine or 2 off it as well, because awesome. I can't guarantee I'll do it as well as you, mate. But I'm sure you will. I'm going to give it my best shot. That's all I can do.
I'm sure you'll do it
if I screw it up.
What annoys me about you, Craig, is I'll watch you do it, and then I'll go, oh, bloody hell, why didn't I think of that? Because you'll chuck a little thing in there that I never thought of and make it a bit better. So, but yeah, no, I look forward to seeing that, mate.
Awesome. Well, make sure you support Chris. I know that he's going to be doing a lot. You're looking at doing more downloads and stuff as well. And that website that we spoke about, that's where a lot of your stuff is. That people can. That's the website where people can find a lot of your material. Is that right?
It will be eventually. At the moment, the only thing that's on there is the book.
Okay.
It's just a book at this moment in time. Yeah.
Perfect. So make sure that you go buy the book. Keep an eye on, bookmark the website, and please support Chris Congreave, because he is one of the good guys in magic, and he cares about everything he puts out. And I really firmly believe we should be, we really should be supporting people like that, because it's important. So we're going to go now to me, and I'm going to give this book a complete, and I told you it's going to be a completely unbiased review. You know me, I'm going to be completely honest about it. I have got the book, so we're going to look at that right now. I'm going to perform some routines out of it. Chris, thank you so much. So that was the interview with Chris. As you can see, he's very, very proud of the book. Now, one thing that I found very interesting when I was interviewing him is he talked about the strong emphasis of mentalism in the book. And I do agree, there is a lot of mentalism in this book. However, there's a lot more visual magic than I actually thought there would be. From speaking to him, I didn't think there'd be anything, but there's very minimal, but there's a lot of stuff that has no mentalism aspect to it at all, and it's all really visual magic. First of all, the book itself is really well done. It's a hardback book, very, very easy to read, very well written. There's a decent notes page in the back, which I absolutely love when I'm using a book, because it allows me to make my notes, which is really important. There's just under 100 pages. In the interview, Chris talked about some theory in there. That's at the back of the book. And having read it, I completely agree with everything he's saying, just so you know. And then you've got the actual meat and bones of the book, which are the routines in here. And generally, as a rule, this is a book on magic. Now, there's so many highlights, it's going to be very difficult for me to... I don't want this review to go on forever. I will say that the coin prediction, which is the first routine in the book, is incredible. It's one of the strongest coin predictions that I've seen. It is really, really good. But it's not just that. I mean, there's so many incredible routines in here. The second routine in the book is a routine called Dead Cut Prediction, which is a version of Omen, which he released through Alakazam Magic, but different. And you can make this up. This could be sold as a gimmick deck of cards. This could actually be sold as a gimmick deck of cards, like very, very easily. It'd take you like probably half an hour to make this deck up, and you've got an absolute miracle. And the one thing that I do know is that Chris likes doing routines where things are written on the back of a card. He really does like things written on the back of a card. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of routines that I particularly like. I'm actually going to perform a routine for you right now. There's a routine, let me find it. Where is it? There's a routine, here you go. Thanks to Dave, which is his version of Mad Card Disease from David Acker. Now, I've actually talked about this in the past. I've talked about the David Acker routine. I've highlighted it in a couple of videos. It's one of my favourite routines to perform. He's got a version of it which is brilliant. And it's the sort of thing that I wish I'd thought of. In fact, Chris tends to do this quite a lot. He'll come up with a routine, and I just sit there going, why did I not think of that? You know, it's just... genius is thinking, really. This Thanks to Dave is brilliant. In fact, I'm going to perform this for you so you can see exactly what I think of it. I'm going to perform it right now. So this is a full performance. I'm going to perform it to Sarah behind the camera. This is a full performance of Thanks to Dave. Right, Sarah, I'm going to show you a trick with a pack of 52 playing cards. I want you to see that they are all there. They are all different. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Going to give the cards a shuffle, and I'm going to show you the world's greatest prediction. Okay?
Right.
I'll tell you right now, I have a prediction right here in my top pocket. I'm going to point that out to you right at the very beginning. And I'm going to show you the world. I know I'm a magician, but I've been learning how to do predictions. I think I've got this perfectly. You're going to pick a card, so as I riffle down the deck, just say stop.
Stop.
You happy right there?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I'm going to give you a look at the card. Can you see it there? Does it show up in the camera okay?
Yeah.
Very good. Remember that card. Now, if you weren't behind the camera, I'd get you to hold your hand out at this point, and I'd put the card on your hand. We'll pretend that your hand is here and the card is on it. But most importantly, remember the card, okay?
Okay.
Now, I said I had a prediction. I'm going to take it out. I have one thing in my pocket, one thing only. I have a clear sleeve, and inside there, I've actually taken a card. I've torn it into 4 pieces, and that card is actually the Jack of Spades. In actual fact, if I take this out, you can see that right here, I actually have the Jack of Spades. Was your card the Jack of Spades?
No.
See, this is why I don't do mind reading, because every single time I try and do it, I fail miserably. I tell you, I'll try and redeem myself with a magic trick instead, okay?
Okay.
Don't let me go anywhere near your card. I'm going to take this piece of the jack, yeah?
Yeah.
Don't worry about these three pieces. I'm going to take this piece of the jack and I'm just going to do that. Do you know what happens when I do that?
No.
I can take that jack and I can turn that piece into what looks like a heart card.
Right.
Was your card a heart?
Yes.
Let's see if we can take this jack piece, because this has got an index. So if I do this, or hang on, I've turned it into the other non-index corner. I've got another heart card. Look, I tell you what, I'll take these two pieces and snap, and I'll take these and I'll turn this into the 10 of hearts. Was your card the 10 of hearts?
It was.
Isn't that amazing? You see, that's why I'm a magician and not a mentalist. Of course, the weird thing is, if I've now got the 10 of hearts here, that can no longer be the 10 of hearts. So the card in your hand has to be the Jack of Spades. So how visual is that? I absolutely love that as a premise, with the card changing piece by piece into the card that they've picked. Absolutely beautiful. Really, really nice routine. And the beautiful thing about it, it's pretty much an instant reset. As soon as you've done it, you put the cards away and you reset, ready to go again. And it's from a shuffled deck in use. As long as you have the four torn pieces with you, you can do this anytime, anywhere. Fantastic routine. Really commercial. Something I'm definitely going to be doing. For anybody that's got the book, I want you to have a look at page 30 at Cut, Stop, Think. Now, this is very similar to a routine in Andy Gladwin's new book, which is A Boy That Cries Magic. But this is actually a cleaner method. I actually have recorded the Andy Gladwin routine for a Magic Live that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. And it's a really great routine. However, I think this is an even cleaner method to achieve something similar. There's a difference at the end, because at the end, Andy has the deck shuffled and it says shuffle here. Chris goes in a different direction, but it's called Stop, Cut, Think. The idea is that somebody stops as you're dealing, somebody cuts, and somebody thinks of a card, and you've predicted it with, you guessed it, something written on the backs of the cards. Really, really nice. I tell you something else I thought that was really good is, I don't know where it is, but there's a routine in here that uses Turbo Stick. Now, I'm a big Turbo Stick fan. And here it is, Turbo Card. So there's a routine in here called Turbo Card, which uses a turbo stick. And the whole idea is it's a way of making an X disappear from a turbo stick onto a selected card and back again. It's a really nice premise. But when I read this, I immediately thought this could actually be fleshed out even further, and it could be combined. The principle that Chris talks about here could be combined with Forgery by Jay Sankey. Now, Forgery is one of Jay's really well-known routines. If you don't know it, you can find it on his downloads, on his L&L DVD set. It's in the Vanishing Ink set of Jay Sankey Magic. Forgery, you'll find it easily. If you've got the book, have a look at Turbo Card. It's on page 62. Take the premise of that, combine it with Forgery by Jay Sankey, and you got an absolute killer of an effect. I could keep going on again and again and again. There's so much really nice material in here. I do want to perform one more. I don't want to perform tons. I do want to perform one more. And I was umming and ahhing between two routines. There's this thing called 52 on 1 kickback thingy, which is a really, really nice premise using a 52 on 1 card. And the whole idea is, it's a bit of a gag. You give somebody a card. It reminds me a little bit of Gypsy Queen by Atty Wind, but with a regular deck of cards, which is great. So what happens is Chris gives somebody a card and he says, I want you to name a card. Name any card you want to. And I guarantee it's the card in your hand. And they name a card and they turn the card over in their hand, and it's 52 on 1 card. And then what happens is, I don't want to give away obviously how the routine works, but the effect on the spectator is they've got this 52 on 1 card, they name their card, they've got the 52 on 1 card, and you talk to them for a second, and when they look down at their hand again, the 52 on 1 card has changed into the named card, the card that they named. The thinking behind this, and more importantly, how Chris has done this from a routining point of view, very, very clever, like really clever. And I could see a lot of people doing this because it's super commercial. And as I say, it's a little bit like the Atty Wind Gypsy Queen, but with a regular deck of cards. You need one gimmick deck, one gimmick card and one gimmick card only, and you're ready to go. But the routine that I am going to perform is Stickman Sam, this one here. Now, if anybody knows me, the they'll know that I'm a huge Stickman fan. I'm doing a video soon on the best tricks that you've never seen before with Stickman. I've published a few Stickman routines before. What Chris has done here is he's taken a Stickman premise and has applied it to Anniversary Waltz. And again, I really do think this is a routine that you could market as a standalone trick, like I really do. But he's just included it in the book, which is incredible. So I'm going to perform that for you as well. I am going to start doing this. I'm a big fan. For me, it takes two of my favourite things: routines with Stickmen and Anniversary Waltz, and he combines it into one really strong routine. Let's have a look at that right now. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to show you the most amazing card trick ever. And as a bonus, as well as seeing the most amazing card trick ever, you're going to meet my friend Bob. Are you excited?
Okay.
My friend Bob. And the nice thing is, even though we're locked down, you still get to meet my friend Bob. He's going to come around the house. It's going to be very exciting. Let me show you what I mean. I have a pack of 52 playing cards there. 52 cards, more importantly, 52 possibilities. Now, in a second, you are going to pick one of these cards, and you can pick any one of these cards. Now, I'm aware that you're behind the camera, so we're going to do it like this. As I go through, just say stop.
Stop.
That one, is that one okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll leave that one sticking out. You happy with that one?
Okay.
Can you look at it? Can everyone see it on the camera?
Yeah.
If I could tell you the name of the card, would that be good?
Well, yeah. Do you know? 6
of Hearts.
Oh, that's cheating.
Years of practice. Probably not very impressed, but I'm going to go one step further. We're going to write your name on this card.
Okay.
You would normally do this, but I'm going to write it for you. Sarah, little line underneath, and I'll put a love heart because you love me so much.
Right.
There we go. I love there was no comment to that there. Do you see the...
You didn't disagree.
You didn't disagree, that's true. So then we've got the 6 of Hearts. Now I'm gonna cut that card into the pack. Really important that it's lost in there. I don't want to know where it is. I'll give the cards one of these shuffles, and I'll even give them one of these fancy shuffles as well. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah.
Now, I said that I was going to introduce you to my friend Bob. I have him here. This is Bob. Bob is a Stickman. Can you see him there?
I can, yeah.
You can actually see at the bottom where it says Bob, just in case he forgets his name.
Bald Bob.
Bald Bob, like me, no hair. But I've put Bob on a blank card. And Bob does an amazing trick. He can actually find anyone's playing card, or he can actually give people the power to find their own playing card. Would you like to know how this works?
Clever.
Well, let me show you. Normally you would push this in yourself, but we'll do it this way as you're behind the camera. As I go through, anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
There. Now, where do you want this card to go? Do you want it there, 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 there? It's totally up to you. There.
Next one.
There.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And this is important because I want you to know that at this point you get to make all of the choices. So you've put Bob kind of right there right now.
Yeah.
You can keep him there, or we can take him out and put him somewhere else. It's about 20 cards down. We can keep him there, or we can put him somewhere else. It's totally up to you.
Let's leave him there.
You want to leave him there, okay. Now, did you feel drawn to that position at all?
I just kind of picked it.
Okay, now, where you put Bob, there's two cards. There's one above Bob, and there's one below Bob.
Right.
We're going to see if this is going to work. We're going to see if Bob and you together have found the card that you picked. The 6 of Hearts, I think it was. Would you like to use the card above Bob or the card below Bob?
Above Bob.
So there's no wordplay here. Where's Bob gone? Bob has vanished. Oh, no, there he is. There's Bob. So you want the one above it? That one there. Are you sure?
Yes.
You can change your mind if you want to.
No, that's the one I want.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to take Bob here. Now, you could have put it back any way you wanted to. I gave you a chance to change your mind. You chose not to change your mind. And then you chose which one to go, and you went for the one above it. You had a completely free choice. If this was the 6 of Hearts, would that be pretty good?
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be me that found that card. It would have been you, and I think that's pretty damn impressive that you managed to find the 6 of Hearts. You and Bob together, what a team. I think you should form some sort of Vegas double act. But obviously, if you are going to... And did you like that? Was that pretty cool?
Yeah.
If you are going to form some sort of Vegas double act, you need a big finish, right? Every single act needs a big finish. We won't even use the rest of the deck. Let me show you a big finish. I'm going to put you and Bob back to back. And at this point, I'd get you to hold your hands out, and this would happen in your hands, but I'll do it here. You see, we're going to try and do something completely impossible and create an impossible object. All I have to do is squeeze, and when I do that, it looks like your card has disappeared, but what's actually happened is Bob has actually fused to your card, piece for piece, fibre to fibre. There's your signed card with Bob on the other side. I'll give you this as a souvenir, and every time you look at it, you can remember this amazing moment of magic that we shared together. Isn't that a great routine? Isn't that fun? I will say there's actually a middle phase in the notes at the end of the routine. Chris talks about a third phase that he puts in the middle of the two phases that I showed you. I chose not to do that on the camera because it's very misdirection based, and I think if I tried to do it on the camera it would expose what's going on. So I chose not to do that, but it can actually work out as a really longer routine. Look, the point is, I could be talking about these routines forever. It's mainly card material. There's some coin stuff in there as well, but I'd say it's 90% card material. It's designed for a commercial close-up worker. It's all stuff that's designed to be done sort of close up. It's an immediate reset. Most of the stuff is. There is some mentalism stuff, like Chris said, but there's also a lot of really visual magic as well. More importantly, I think that what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to take Chris's ideas in this book and take them in a different direction. I think it's going to spark some ideas and some creativity with the people that are reading this. You know, Chris's first book was great. This book is even better. I do think this is an incredible book. It really is. Just the two routines that I performed for you today, I'm going to do those two routines. I think they're really strong. Just if I only ever perform those two routines and nothing else, I've got my money's worth. But I know that there's probably another 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 routines in this book that I'm going to do as well. And the interesting thing is, I know that there's going to be routines in here that I probably wouldn't do, that I think other people would. And I think that what he's done is he's written this book to appeal to absolutely everybody. There's going to be somebody that's going to be probably make a feature of their act out of a routine in this book that you know, they didn't even, that I would have dismissed. And that's what's really nice about it. So yeah, it's a fantastic book. When it's just well written as well. You know, it's like, I love the hardback thing. When Chris was talking about hardback books, I was kind of thinking, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And now I've got it in my hands, I completely agree with him. The book is beautiful. So yeah, if you want a collection of commercial close-up routines, some of the stuff in there is going to be needing not arts and craft, but you're going to need to do a one-time prep. Both of those routines I showed you, there was a one-time prep. I probably had to spend 20 minutes making those tricks up, but now I've made them. They're made up. I'll never have to do that again. So please bear that in mind. But what I will say one more thing about the book, which is it's fun to perform. It's one of those books that's really fun to read, and the routines are really fun to practice. Sometimes when you have magic books, it's a real hard slog, and you're kind of having to force yourself to read it. That's not the case with this. Look, I will say one thing that's not a negative, but it's something that's worth knowing, which is Chris assumes that you have a certain ability level. He assumes that the reader of this book is going to have a certain ability level. So even though he breaks down how every routine works, he won't, for example, go into excruciating detail on how to do a double lift or excruciating detail on how to do an Elmsley count. He assumes that you know how to do an Elmsley count. He assumes that you know how to do a double lift, which I don't think is a bad thing. To be honest, that's one of the reasons I found it such a good read, because a lot of the time I'll be reading a book and I'm like, right, okay, now I'm going to have to skip 5 or 6 chapters while they tell me how to do an Elmsley count again. Chris assumes that you already have that ability level. So if you're very, very new to magic and you don't know the basic sleights, either get a copy of Card College and learn those sleights before you go for this, or, you know, if you really want to learn this and you like the idea of some of the routines in here, you're going to need to learn the sleights from somewhere else. Not that it's very sleight heavy, it's not. A lot of the moves and routines in here can be done with a force, a control. I know in one of the routines I performed, I used a pass, but Chris didn't write it up like that. That's the way I performed it, because I always try to put my own take on stuff. So it's something that's worth knowing about. I'm going to give this 98%. I think this is amazing. I think this is one of the best things that Chris has done. Definitely better than the first book. Not that that was bad, but this is for me, the best book he's ever written. Yeah, go buy it. Go buy it. You won't be disappointed. It's the sort of book that you're going to read, you're going to go back to, you're going to read again. You'll probably put it down 3 years later. You'll pick it up and you'll go, oh my God, how did I miss that? It's highly recommended. You can get it directly from Chris. The link is down below or in the description. Go buy it now. It's highly recommended. And the bottom line is you can buy something like Triple Helix that's probably going to go in your bottom drawer, or you could buy or Last Trick of Houdini, or all the other millions of rubbish tricks that come out that high priced, or you could buy a book like this, which is £45 or something like that, and you're going to have 20 or 30 routines that you're going to be able to put into your repertoire. Chris, well done, highly recommended, 98%. So there you go, guys. That's another review show special on the Sunday evening. These things are becoming quite regular. I never intended to do a review show special on a Sunday evening, and I can't guarantee I'm going to be doing one every Sunday evening because they do take a long time to put together. They just do, you know, especially with when I have to interview somebody and with a book, learn the routines out of the book, perform them. It does take a long time. So I can't guarantee that every single week I'm going to be doing a review show special. However, I'm going to try and do the next review show special on Prop Dog, because a lot of people have been asking me to do a review show special on Prop Dog. So I'm going to probably do a review show special a bit like I did with Ace Magic Studios and the 1914, and I'm going to kind of go down that route with it. And Real Workers last week. So let me know what you think of these review show specials that go up on a Sunday evening. Do you want to see more of them? Let me know in the comments down below. Is there a particular project that's coming out soon that you want to see me do a deep dive on, like I have with Chris's book, like I did with The Insider with Mark Oberon? If there is, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see what I can do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you want to see more videos like this, and I'm going to be back again tomorrow with 3 videos. I'm going to have a shorts at 2 o'clock, I'm going to have a live at 6 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock we're going to have a 5x5. So I'll see you again. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic